You know, there may not be a whole lot of people involved in the state games, but they're sure excited about it.
Well, a lot of us have dreamed about being in the Olympics, and this is New Mexico's Olympics, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I don't want to be sound like the sportscaster in town who is throwing rocks at the organizers, but thus far I don't think they've done that good of a job at all at getting the word out. You talk to most of the athletes that are here, they're the lucky ones. They found out about where to sign up, how to do it, where to show up. I think in the years to come, though, this can be a really neat thing.
Let's hope so.
Granted, the state games idea really hasn't panned out yet here in New Mexico, but give it time. They've really taken off in other states around the USA. And even though New Mexico's second annual batch started yesterday, organizers opted for a Friday night opening ceremonies. They do it this way this year to give out-of-town athletes a chance to take part. Many just make it in for the weekend events. Now, plenty more on tap for tomorrow and Sunday. They've got a boatload of first, second, and third place medals to give out before they're done. And you'll want to keep me in your thoughts tomorrow. Hope I make it through the tennis bracket that they put me in. 8 extremely competitive criteriums made up day one in the second annual Watermelon Classic bike races. Our Shane Whitehead reports on the biggie with all the top guns.
About 75 pro riders started tonight's 8th race of the Watermelon Classics criterium. These are the guys that can flat out ride. These guys lap the 1.2-mile Renaissance course every 2 minutes or so for an hour. In some spots, they reach speeds of 40-plus miles an hour. About 55 of the riders formed a pack early in the race, and they stayed there. And as the course darkened, the racing in the pack intensified, probably because $5,000 was on the line. The pros made the last turn on the bell lap, and then the move started. They were bunched up on the final turn. Then Albuquerque's Bart Bowen pulled away and won this year's most lucrative criterium.
I did a lot of chasing early on, and I was feeling pretty tired towards the last 3 quarters. So I decided to try and hopefully let the pack stay together. And there was a guy off the last 2 laps, and I was hoping the pack would just get close enough so on the last lap I could make a move up the last hill, and it worked out.
Bart's bicycling heroics earned him a $1,300 paycheck. Shane Whitehead, News 4, Albuquerque.
And let me once again remind you that the Watermelon features a road race tomorrow through the Sandias, a mountain run Sunday at the Peak, and a casual citizens tour Sunday starting at the Four Hills Shopping Center. They were burning some rubber today up in the Great Northwest. Day one of qualifying for Sunday's Portland 200. Provisional pole grabber Danny Sullivan led a parade of drivers who broke the track's single-lap speed record. Unser Jr. qualified 5th, 2 miles per hour slower than Sullivan, who topped 122. With the second worst record in baseball, something had to give in Atlanta. Today it did. Russ Nixon lost his job as field boss. Braves general manager Bobby Cox did the dirty work and then proceeded to place himself in the position. Up in Montreal tonight, big showdown. First place Pittsburgh, second place Monstros. Bobby Bonilla sends one. Well, that is a nice catch and right from Bonilla. In the 8th inning, it was all tied until Mike Aldretti laced the gapper. Andres Galarraga, he is a big dude. He's going to scamper around. Is he going to make it in safely? Oh, the throw is cut off. No contest. He's in there easily. Here's your final. Expos are just a half game back. I have pioneered that new nickname, by the way, Monstros. Frank Viola for New York wins his 10th on the year. I like it, too. In 10 innings, the Dodgers beat the Reds. No way they're going to trade Gibson, despite what you hear. A 7th straight loss for Houston. They lost to the Giants. In St. Louis, well, in Chicago, St. Louis with a shutout. Joe McGrain, a 3-hitter. And Rain takes care of the game in Atlanta. Bobby Cox waits another day to win his first. In Toronto Sky Dome, first place Jays with a supposed cakewalk against the lowly Yankees, but New York led 5-1 on Bob Guerin's 2 RBI double right there. The Bronx Bombers were up 6-1 on Steve Balboni, his second homer of the game. But you know what? Jays came back and said, we'll make a game of it. It's in the 15th now. Mike Bottiger for Boston wins his 8th consecutive pitching win. There's your score in the 4th. In Oakland, California, no score in the 5th. Minnesota won. Milwaukee won. And Texas beat Seattle Nolan Ryan with career win number 295. Nashville, Tennessee will forever hold a special place in Nota Begay's heart. The Albuquerque Academy May grad won the National High School Golf Tourney there today. He beat a kid from California on the second extra sudden death hole of play. Washington, D.C. is obviously where Georgetown basketball coach John Thompson wants to be. He has turned down the Denver Nuggets offer to be their new GM.
In today's society, it would be very difficult for me to try to explain to folks why I wouldn't leave for money. You know, so I don't know that I want to really get into a lot of that. I think the offer was extremely lucrative, far more lucrative than you all reported.
We were reporting $700,000 a year, so he turned down a boatload. In the sixth, it's the Dukes 2, Vancouver 2, that game north of the border. Wish me luck tomorrow, Tom.
The Monstros. It sounds like some mud bog truck. Thanks, you, Paul. When kids in the city are hot, they head to the public pool.
Well, so do kids in small towns. Sort of. We'll show you after this.
The rest of the country might not see this like they see Michigan, Michigan State, or Oklahoma, Texas. But for our state, this is the biggie. The Aggies and Lobos. It's our rivalry. We get all excited, but nobody's pumped up more than our Paul Davis, who's live in Las Cruces.
Scott, I'm proud of you. It's good to hear you're coming around. You know, I took in my first Lobo Aggie game 2 years ago here. I didn't know what to expect that night. I don't know what to expect tonight. To be sure, it is the Battle of New Mexico. 74 players who call the Land of Enchantment home will dot the sidelines. Mike Shepard kept his Lobos under wraps this week. He didn't want any distractions from tonight's 81st Civil Football War. Come on! New Mexico State is the nation's worst Division I football team. They've got a 17-game losing streak to prove it. Take into account last year's 45-13 drubbing in Albuquerque, and a brand new coaching staff for NMSU to adjust to, and the Aggies are in for trouble. Big trouble.
I wish this was an exhibition or practice game, but it's not.
And this is not the same UNM squad of recent years gone by. 14 seniors in the starting lineup make them prime.
This is the best football team on paper, on the surface, that I've had as a head coach.
But the Lobos aren't too overconfident to think all they have to do is show up either. 2 years ago, it took a last-second field goal to beat State at Aggie Memorial.
I don't think anyone here in New Mexico is counting them out for a second. They're give us a run down there.
The experts think New Mexico will win at least 5 games this season. Well, they're anxious to get started.
On the edge. Everyone's on the edge and ready to go. You say boo, they might say, they might go after you.
Now, in this series, the Lobos have won 16 of the last 18 games. Let me also mention that, yeah, the Aggies have a new coaching staff, but Mike Shepard has 7 new assistants helping him, too. Tonight ought to be interesting. Kickoff is set for 7 o'clock. Scott, I sure hope they don't start firing that cannon like they did 2 years ago, because I was deaf for a week.
Yeah, well, you're smart enough now. You'll go to the other end of the stadium.
I got some earplugs.
All right, buddy. Look forward to hearing from you from 10, and there's more college football to talk about today, so let's head right to the scoreboard on that one. Colorado with 2 rounds left. And it's bound to be national headlines tomorrow, so I'll be proud to tell you that I'm the first to do this. Paul Davis and his wife Evelyn have their 4th son. He's Casey Conrad Davis, born just before 1 o'clock this morning. Casey weighed 6 pounds, 9 ounces. He's 19 inches long. Baby and mama are doing okay. Dad is passed out on the floor at the hospital. No, I'm just kidding about that. Dad is okay, too. He's got 4 now. This guy, I think, is the point guard, so I think they're looking for a power forward.
Oh, all right.
I think he says no. Go with a 4-man team.
Thanks, Scott. I'm Sarah Voorhees, News 4 New Mexico.
And the Smiley Man, Paul Davis, is going to be back sometime next week.
Right, we're going to look one more time, just one more time, at his new baby as we leave you.
See you again at 10.
Trust Larry Aarons and the morning team for your early morning update of news, weather, sports, and traffic on 77 KOB Radio.
Hi.
They say this show last about 20 minutes. As good as it was, seemed like 20 seconds. Toughest thing about it, as a fan, half the time, you didn't know where to watch. The guy working the tramp or the ramp. What the sportscaster doing at the Max Air Snow Flyer show? You gotta have athletic ability to do this stuff.
This is the largest portable ski ramp in the world. It also has the largest airbag, which is the largest landing area. Therefore, it is very safe. We have it on an angle. It's oversized. Everything is overkill. We want to go for safety. We want to give the people the most spectacular show that they possibly can see.
The 6 gentlemen who are the Max Fair Snow Flyers have spent the last 2.5 months on the road. They do it often enough that it's not so frightening.
When you get a lot of practice, it doesn't get scared anymore. You get a kind of power inside of you. Just tell you to go and do it.
You're safely in the stands, but you had to be worrying about these guys.
I was. They have to be very talented to do what they do. I couldn't believe it. I was impressed.
Weren't we all? Yeah! Paul Davis, Albuquerque. Bob Bondurant raced professionally 14 years. A bad accident pushed him into this, high-performance driving. He's just opened a new $1.5 million school just outside of Phoenix. He worked with Alan Sir Jr. 10 years ago.
In the process, I was able to evaluate little Al. He had a lot of car feel, a lot of car control, but he was very rough on equipment, didn't know road courses yet. So I taught him how to do road courses.
He also took Tom Cruise under his wing before filming of Days of Thunder.
He did well in his driving, and he enjoyed doing the movie, and I'd like to see him come back and do some more.
And now Mr. Bondurant can say he's worked with me.
Batten down the hatches. Okay, so
first time in my life I was actually happy to see a seatbelt. They came in handy. We talked about trailing brake, positive and negative camber, power slides, and proper 3 and 9 o'clock hand positioning. Then I got the keys. All right, Tom Cruise, look out! Move over, Paul Newman! Little Al, I'm coming at you! Now, I didn't wreck the rent-a-car. Got a little uptight, though.
Lift off. What's the car doing?
It's going right to that pole! Besides advanced road racing, Bob also teaches anti-kidnapping, advanced street, police pursuit, teenage and skid control driving. Hope I never need some of those.
Said if Animas will lose a game this year, this will be it. I don't know if it's a monumental event and our Paul Davis wants to be there. Paul, did it happen?
Well, Scotty, the upset didn't happen if that's what you're asking. You know, Cobre came in 3-0 on the season. They had scored at least 30 points in their first 3 ball games. The experts who thought they could win tonight, wrong. No way. Here, see for yourselves. They came from miles around to see if the Cobre Indians were up to it. Heaven knows the visitors were. Although Cobre drove the ball the first time, they had it down to the Panther 12, but they turned it over on downs. First time Animas had it, well, mixing up the pass with the run, Mark Davis marched his troops 91 yards. Bunch Swift's catch at the 2 set up their first score. Second time they had it, their specialty teams got some ink. Quarterback Mark Davis with a 47-yard punt return for the score. Both teams are running the wing T tonight. Trust me, the Panthers ran it better. Matt Rudiger set up the touchdown that made it 20-0 in the second quarter. And I like this Mark Davis kid. He can run, he can return punts, he can throw. Swift had it down to the 4 after the score, 28-0. Persecute the Panthers? I don't think so.
Continue to play aggressive. You got it.
They had it, and the Panthers had it in the bag with 13 more points in the third. Bunch Swift with a bunch of catches. Animas unfazed in Bayard. This is the first game you've caught a pass in?
This year, so far.
You ran for 2, you passed for 2. What else could you have done tonight?
Not much. I had the Hogs, best Hogs in state.
Well, you guys came, you saw, you conquered.
Well, I was really pleased with the team effort tonight. It was a great victory over a pretty good ball club.
Now, Animus's defense held Cobray's O to 135 yards all night. Yeah, Scotty and folks at home, the streak lives. That'll do it from here. I'll see you tomorrow from the Lobo game.
All right, Paul, thanks very much. Have a safe trip back. 65 in a row now for Animus.
Welcome to sports from the city of Baird, folks. We are 9 miles east of Silver City. It's the home of Cobray High. They play Animus tonight. And the way I look at it, Channel 4 here, we can't lose. If Cobray pulls off the upset, it's heard round the state. If Animus wins, their national best win streak is alive. Cobray High's been targeting this day for a long time. A big surprise for the football Indians 3 hours ago, an impromptu pep rally. They were making sure everybody knew the Indian fight song. Students couldn't help but know all week long that their football team battled mighty Animus this week. Cut off the streak. Wear cutoffs.
We're going to win.
You sound so confident. Tell me why.
Because we got the power to do it this year.
They're pretty good. Is that all you can say for Animus?
No, they're real good.
We need you guys there, and we need you behind us. Get your butts over there.
Naturally, all the big talk calmed down when the Panthers showed up. Why, they even had fans in the stands 2.5 hours before kickoff. I wanted to ask you, where's the rest of your fans?
They'll be here.
They'll be here.
Are you sure of that?
Oh, yeah.
As for the Animus Panthers, just another Friday night.
Just like these kids, you know, a lot of people think that they're under a lot of pressure, but they don't know anything else. It's been like this ever since they've been in high school.
And no matter who wins, I'm set for a good time. Animus has won 64 consecutive football games. Tonight at 10 will show you if Cobray gets in their way. Let's go back to Scott Stigler in the studio with the rest of the day in sports. Scott?
All right, Paul, thanks, and we'll see if Cobray can end Animus' 64-game win streak. Hey, Johnny.
Claudia Hawks just mowed down the competition in the Slims pre-qualifying tourney. She lost a grand total of 6 games over 4 matches. From Canada, she's only been in the Duke City about a year. Teaches junior clinic here at the Lobo Tennis Club. Hawks started Auburn. She's 26, and she's played in a handful of pro tournaments in her career. Why the sudden interest in the Slims? Well, it's simple. She loves the game.
I didn't play for a couple months when we first moved out here. In May, I heard that there was a tournament here, a big one, the Virginia Slims. And I thought, great, I better start playing. So I started practicing hard and playing all the tournaments that were around here in New Mexico. And I wanted to get ready for it. My goal was to get into the qualifying.
Having done that, Hawks trying to step up her game just a notch.
I don't serve in volley, but I do like to come up to net. My baseline game is the strongest part, but I'm working on my net game and trying. If I get a short ball, I want to come up and play the net. I know the caliber of play is going to be really tough. Probably the top 300 in the world will be in there, and I'd like to see how I do against them.
You'd like a chunk of that prize money.
I don't even know how much the winner gets. I just want to play well. I just want to win as many matches as I can.
Win 3 matches this weekend, and she'll be part of the Final 4 heading into next week's Slims Spotlight Field.
Okay, we're just going to blow them out then, okay? We're out here to learn, out here to have fun. Blow them out. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I couldn't imagine anybody wanting to hole up in a dark, dingy gymnasium when the mercury's hovering around 90 outside, but actually not a bad place to be at all. Basketball camp, that is.
It's
The Lolo basketball camps, not unlike the thousands of other ones that go on around the country every summer, kids come to learn the fundamentals of the game and to have some fun. You know what fun is? Watching the sons of a Michael Cooper or a Dave Bliss mixing it up. Did any of the kids rib you or kid you about the fact that your dad's running the camp and the fact that your dad is the Lobo head coach?
I'm at school, but not here.
Are you any good?
No, not really.
Why do you say that?
Because I'm not. It's real good.
I think he gets that humility from his dad.
And little Michael Cooper, the forward, can thank Papa for some decent court savvy.
I think I'm pretty good. I don't know about all the other people, though.
Well, how do you deal with the pressure of being Michael Cooper's little boy?
All I do is play as good as I can.
Well, right now he's shorter than his dad. I'm pretty good on that. He shoots with a different hand than his dad, and he's better looking than his dad, so he'll probably go into broadcasting.
Well, one thing's for sure, if youngsters Coop and Bliss didn't catch any flack about their bloodlines thus far at camp, they will after this story. On the surface, it's the same old Animas. The tiny little southwestern New Mexico city still has its cute little post office, house of worship, and the kids' favorite goodies place. But a quick visit to the high school and it's quite obvious something's wrong. The Lordsburg Mavericks saw that 5 days ago. You know, it's incredible. This high school's football team put together the third best win streak in the history of man. 69 straight wins. No wonder they've been down last couple of days.
It's been really weird. Nobody talks anymore. Nobody has anything to talk about. Life does go on, but, I mean, it just wasn't any game. It meant everything to the football players and everybody in this community.
The kids aren't the only ones in major shock. Listen to the lady who runs Dunnigan's Bakery.
Our radio reception is so lousy that we sat in the car and listened to the radio in the car. And, oh, it was sad.
And it can't be true. So then I heard it again, and it didn't change. They were still 9-8 Lordsburg. Oh gosh, that's bad.
The Panthers head coach kept practice short and sweet on Monday, back in pads on Tuesday. They're being honest about the heartbreak.
You know, we came so close, and I guess that's the reason, it's so disappointing, and I'll be the first to admit it hurts real bad.
I've talked to players that have graduated. I mean, I've gotten phone calls from, players all over, that are gone that don't live here anymore. And, I mean, they feel like someone's died in their life, too.
It's just like what Mark said. They're all sympathizing for us, but it's starting to...
They're doing all they can to find ways to forget the pain of losing their shot at a national record in Animas, but you can't blame them if it takes a while. They're trying their darndest to get on with things at Animas High. A new batch of Panther backing posters went up bright and early Monday morning. All to offset the loss heard round the USA Friday night. Lordsburg 9, Animas 8. After the Panthers lost the game in their streak on Friday, they trekked 37 miles back down the road to their home base. Their parents had a potluck supper for them. It was one tough time.
The mood was like somebody died.
Was it hard to believe Saturday morning when you got up?
Yeah, it was like a dream. It was like a dream.
Nightmare.
Not happened, yeah, nightmare.
We really wanted that record. I tell you what, it come down to it, and it became a big issue, and we wanted it for ourselves, and not only for ourselves, we wanted it for New Mexico, too.
Maybe the toughest part about losing the streak, it happened against their most bitter rival, Lordsburg.
But I sure did hate to see Lordsburg beat Animas above all teams.
Why?
Well, they've always, they haven't liked Animas much, it don't seem to me like.
They're special little guys, and it was sad. It was disheartening. I know that there was a lot of tears shed that night.
Maybe they'll take heed to Billy's new poster up at her bakery. You claim not to feel the pressure, pretend not to think of the record. But when you should lose, no matter. Credit will still be good at Dunnigan's. The lessons you've learned will last a lifetime.
Everybody's going to take it hard, but, you know, we're not going to get very far if we dwell on this loss.
He's right. Animas must beat Tularosa Friday or they won't even make the playoffs. But whether they do or not, most of the players already appreciate where they've been.
I've always wondered what it'd be like to be in a different locker room at halftime, you know, of a different team that we were playing, or what it'd be like to be at their school. But I was just glad I could ever be a part of this team.
This program in the books with 6 straight state championships and the 3rd longest win streak in high school football history.
Now, if you look at the two boxers, it certainly looks like one has the advantage.
Well, Buster Douglas's body looks a lot better than some of ours, but not quite as good as Holyfield.
Well, you know, you can't blame the guy. He has been on the super big-time banquet circuit ever since he took out Tyson. All the talk shows he's been on, but I did think he'd be a little trimmer than he was today. I can't remember the last time a boxer's weight before a fight caused such a stir. Here's the heavyweight champ of the world, James Buster Douglas, on the scales today, 246 pounds. That's 15 heavier than when he took out Mike Tyson. Holyfield's manager was applauding, maybe too loudly.
And I'm not concerned. I want to look like I'm worried. I'm mad because they're acting stupid about the weight, but it don't matter. The weight is not going to make no difference. I'm telling y'all this here. Wait until tomorrow night and see. The outcome of the fight is going to matter.
Well, they're going to roll him in and they're going to carry him out tonight, baby, and tell out the people in Columbus.
Here's why he's so confident. Holyfield just outrageously fit. He ought to be on the cover of a bodybuilding magazine. Holyfield checked in at 208 pounds. You know what his next size is? 19 and a half. Red Sox management probably had a lump in their throats today. They've released 18-year veteran Dwight Evans. He's 39. That's probably why. Willie McGee, Mike Bottiger, and Danny Jackson joined the free agent pool today, and the Royals say they're through with catcher Bob Boone. The defensive back, projected as an all-WAC performer this year by the Lobo Media Guide, has been suspended. Number 2, Donald Livingston, didn't tell the coaches he wanted to go home for a funeral last weekend. He was late for the team bus to the airport, didn't go to Colorado Springs.
I mean, personally, I don't feel it was fair. I guess Coach Shepard feels he was fair in his decision by suspending me.
Coach told him to come back in 2 weeks.
And I think Coach Shepard just wanted me to take some time and get my head together so I can concentrate more on football instead of worrying about other problems.
Is that okay with you that you take that much time?
Well, I'd rather be playing, but if that's what it takes, then yeah.
Coach Shepard doesn't want to say a whole lot about the situation publicly. He did tell me he's never suspended a player for simply wanting to go home for a friend's funeral. The catchphrase just kept coming into my head today while filming this next story. Little big man, little big man. See if you don't agree.
It's real easy to look no further than big burly Gabe Ortega when handing out the kudos for the Del Norte offense. But if you do look a little harder, a little closer, something hits you. Del Norte's running game a force to be reckoned with this year, not just because of Gabe Ortega. They've also got this little pint-sized player. You won't believe him when you see him. He's little 5'4", 120-pound Carlos Treviso, far and away the state's smallest starting fullback.
I know that all of our opponents look at him and say, Coach, look at that little number 32. How could he do anything? And yet, he runs the ball, and he's very effective for us as a fullback.
Well, that's not the whole story. Treviso also shines on specialty teams and is a starter in the defensive secondary. Does Carlos surprise you at how successful he is despite his size?
Well, not really, because actually I grew up with that enormous guy, and we've been playing since Yaffle, so and he's always been small, so it doesn't surprise me.
What's a little guy like you playing football with these big studs?
I don't know, it's fun. It's a challenge for me to show that my size could compete with some guys that are 2 or 3 times bigger than me.
He's done more than just compete. He's a major cog in the nice program. Over 300 yards on 50-plus carries.
I remember one against Gallup. The big 260-pound guy came in from behind me and just sat on me from behind. So
he sat on you from behind.
And my coach came up to me and glad to have you alive.
He'll be alive and well for the Albuquerque game this weekend. The Bulldogs will try to stop him, but first, they'll have to find him.
You'd figure him to deal with yo-yos, not football. Can't judge a book by its cover, right? But you can take one look at these pictures to know that the competition was hot and heavy at the World Yo-Yo Championships out west.
It's changed in terms of the technology, the kinds of yo-yos that are available, different styles and so on. But as far as the tricks, they're pretty much the same, although a little more advanced. More combinations of tricks, more complex tricks. A lot of the two-handed work, one yo-yo in each hand, has improved quite a bit. They're doing things today that were just literally unheard of when I was competing as a kid.
You know, I don't think my kids have ever seen a yo-yo. I don't think they're high-tech enough for them.
They've seen you, though. You're as close to a yo-yo as we can get. Thank you, Paul.
You won't be able to go to bed after you see Daly's.
Time to head back out to the pit.
Our Paul Davis wants to prove that he not only knows about the sport that is played there, but the food that is served there.
That's right. Paul.
Tom and Maury, can you imagine the pit filled with 18,000 fans and they've got empty stomachs? We'd have a real problem, wouldn't we? There are 8 concession stands here in the pit, and each and every one of them has high school kids that pretty much man or woman the trenches. This is Roxanne. Hi, Roxanne. This is Tara. They both played on the outstanding West Mesa High volleyball team. Roxanne, you never see the game.
Well, I'm not here to see the game. I'm here to work for my volleyball for Junior Olympics.
I understand that 10% of the gross revenue that University of New Mexico takes in during every game, they divvy up among the schools that are involved. Tara, some of the hot-selling items. You've worked here. Tell us about it.
Anywhere from candy to nachos, soft drinks, hot dogs. Here's one now.
Here's one now. That wasn't rehearsed. I'm told 1,500 hot dogs will be sold tonight. Let's see what you're looking forward to, folks. Ooh, that is good. Tom, Warren?
How many times have we told him to chew with his mouth closed?
Many, many times. He doesn't learn. Time for us to get our dinner, and then we're going to start working on the 10 o'clock, right?
You bet.